Hello and welcome. My name is Brian. This is my photo show. Today's topic, AI conversions. What are they? So you see before you two 24mm f2.8 lenses. Both of these lenses are pre-AI. Both lenses have these scalloped metal focusing rings, indicating production prior to 1975. All Nikkor lenses of that period are pre-AI. This one has been AI converted. Let's see the difference. The pre-AI lens, as it left the factory, had a completely flat base, no ridges of any kind. The metering prong is solid. There are no holes in it. In contrast, the AI modification replaced this aperture ring with an aperture ring displaying the secondary set of ADR readout numerals. These are the numerals that appear in the viewfinder of the FM series and later cameras, F3 and so forth, F2 as well. And this lens is ridged. It has a ridge right here. This is the ridge which contacts the AI tab in AI series cameras and follows it along in order to communicate aperture data to the camera. However, when this lens left the factory, it looked just like this one as far as the bottom goes. It had a flat bottom, no ridges, with a solid metering prong. At some point, this lens was converted. When the AI system was introduced in 1977, Nikon made available to their service centers conversion kits with replacement rings, so that I could send this lens to my Nikon service center and they'd send it back to me and it would look like this. Now, here's the problem or the issue and what's really prompting me to make this video. These conversion kits have not been made for years. They've been out of production for many years. You can't get them anymore. You can't order them. I mean, maybe you can find some on eBay somewhere, I don't know, but I mean, they are out of production and have been for a long time. So what do I do if I buy this lens today and I want to mount it on my DSLR or my AI series camera? Well, what I can do is take this to a technician who will carve a ridge about right here, shave away some metal so that when the flat base of this lens is mounted on the AI camera, there's enough clearance here so that the bottom of the lens won't crush the AI tab. That process looks something like this. This here is an old 58mm lens I bought some time ago. It was it is pre-AI, always has been, always will be. But I wanted to mount it on my AI series cameras. So I took it to a technician, and the technician put it on a lathe, and he shaved away a good bit of metal right here, which you can see. You can see here it's shaved right up to the screws, like shaved off the bottom section of this screw right here. That's a strong indication of an AI modification. You see the shaving is going to come right up and take off the bottom of that screw. In addition, he put in another tiny little screw right here. Okay, right about there. That screw plays the part of the AI ridge. It contacts the AI tab and follows it around, communicating aperture data to the camera. Now, this is an AI conversion. Okay, so is this. Both of these lenses are AI converted. Neither of these lenses is AI. This is not an AI lens. This is not an AI lens. Neither of them are. Never have been, never will be. The problem is websites advertising lenses for sale. Many retail websites which advertise Nikkor lenses for sale are referring to this as AI and this as AI converted or AI'd. That's incorrect. Both of these lenses are AI'd. This was AI'd in the proper, correct, factory authorized way. This was AI'd on the back of in somebody's backyard or garage on their workbench. One is obviously a preferred method. Now, this one was, I bought this lens and I paid somebody to do this. He was a good technician. He is a good technician. I trusted him, and he did a good job. I got the lens back. I mounted it on my AI series cameras, and they all worked. They all worked just fine. That is, the AI conversion was done properly. And if I had any problems, I certainly could have taken the lens back to the technician, and he would have fixed it. He would have, carved a little more metal out, done what was necessary to make it work. He's a good guy. I bring a lot of stuff to him. I'm sure he would have done that for me. It wasn't necessary. He got it right the first time, so I got lucky there. However, if I were buying these lenses online and I saw this advertised as AI'd or AI converted, there is no way I could possibly know whether or not this lens would mount properly on my AI series camera. There is no way that I can look at a photograph of this lens online and know, just from the photograph, whether or not the AI conversion was done properly. I cannot know, looking at a photograph online, whether the proper amount of metal was carved out in the proper way such that the lens would clear the AI tab without crushing it. The only way I can know that is by test mounting it on an AI series camera. So describing this lens as AI'd is not inaccurate, but in my opinion is incomplete. The retail websites which are advertising lenses like this as AI'd are not making any representation as to whether or not the AI conversion was done properly. You're not seeing any notations on the item listing that that the lens has been test mounted on a number of AI series cameras, that it engages properly, that it clears the tab, that there's no problem with it. We put it on a DSLR, we put it on an F2, an FM2, we put it on an F5, what have you, and yeah, it works on all those cameras, no problem. You're not seeing that. All you're seeing is the bare listing calling this an AI or an AI'd or AI converted lens, and that just doesn't give you enough information. In my opinion, a lens with this type of AI conversion is worth no more in an online sale than an unmodified pre-AI lens. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this type of base is of the same value as this type of base, because there's simply no way you can know whether or not this was done properly. That's really the point I wanted to make. There are two different kinds of AI conversions. All pre-AI lenses look like this when they left the factory. Some have been converted. Some have been converted in the proper factory authorized way. Others on somebody's workbench in their garage or shop or what have you. Maybe this was done right, maybe it wasn't. You have absolutely no way of knowing this until you get the lens home and mount it on your camera. You cannot know simply by looking at a photograph online. And even if the retail seller has a generous return policy and they'll take it back and give you a refund or give you store credit or what have you, it's still a hassle. I mean, nobody wants to go through that headache of getting your lens out and then trying to put it on your camera. First of all, it might damage your camera. And secondly, even if it doesn't, you may have to send it back. So just be aware of that. Be aware of the fact that there are two different types of AI conversions. And oh, by the way, if you get one of these, this conversion here, by doing this conversion, I have completely destroyed any collector value this lens may have. In fact, 10 years ago or so, these retail websites that sell lots of used camera equipment, they wouldn't touch one of these. You never saw this stuff for sale. Never. Nowadays, it's extremely common because these lenses are becoming more sought after and prices are going up, and they've become more and more popular in recent years. So the sales standards appears to have become a bit more lax. At any rate, that's all I wanted to say. That's all I wanted to point out to everybody. I want to thank the fine folks at the Classic Lenses podcast and their associated Facebook group for inspiring this video. This is something that's been bothering me for a while, and I finally got around to making a video on it. And thanks to Simon Foster and the fine folks over at Classic Lenses podcast. Check them out. Great podcast, and they are absolutely correct when they make a bunch of derisive remarks regarding these types of AI conversions on their most recent episode. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.